name is Dr. Travis Towne, and I am a social studies teacher at the Early College in Lenore County. I'm also a board member with the North Carolina Council for Social Studies. And one of the things that we have as a team would like to invite all of our both experienced and new teachers to do is check out some resources that you might not have heard about. And one of the things that we wanted to do was maybe just take a few minutes and show you some of those resources so that you could get an idea of what they look like and walk you through some of the things that we could hopefully allow you to do. So this right here is a fairly new resource. It's called Sphere. Now it is from the Cato Institute, and some people might not be familiar with that. It is a libertarian think tank that is found in Washington, D.C., but they have an educational side of their role that is not necessarily really tied to that Cato think tank. It is just focused on civil discourse. And one of the things I really like about this particular resource is it allows you to examine quite a few sides of the discussion. So if you go to Sphere or sphere-ed.org, you can check this out, and it has some really neat resources that at first blush you can kind of see some of the lessons that are on here and that kind of stuff. But if you start getting in a little bit deeper in the classroom content area, you'll start seeing that they have some really neat units that are a part of this process. And so I just wanted to walk you through a couple of these units and show you why I kind of like some of the things that are a part of this. And so this first one, Civil Discourse in Literature, you can kind of see that it has some lessons. It talks about a 5-part unit. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing all of these lessons, but you could as part of that process that you can look through. And it has an activity, and it has a really neat information about how things are developed. And so, for example, if I open up one of these, what is civil discourse? You can see down here the standards that it brings. You got a download option. They have learning objectives and essential questions. All of those are part of this discussion, and they give you a lot of resources available to have a discussion with the process. Also, if you were teach economics or even civics, I'm just going to go to this Foundations for Civics and Economics. You can see that they have a 4-part lesson here, really dealing with some civic literacy concerns, especially like, penalty, the death penalty. Let's get our students talking about it. What are the most common arguments against immigration, and perhaps why they're wrong? Immigration is history repeating itself. So there's really interesting discussion points here on the content. Now, you also have these, the Centers for Progress and the Heroes of Progress. I'm going to take a second to look at the Heroes for Progress. So the Heroes of Progress have a part of you can see there's several different lessons here. But one of their things that they really focus on, people that you don't necessarily hear about often, and people that have made a really indelible mark on society, but you really just don't know who they are. For example, Norman Borlaug. And, a lot of the things, most of us have probably never heard of this man before, but he's got a fascinating story. And some of the things, these are, he changed 1 billion lives, right? And most of us probably have never heard of him, but he actually revolutionized agriculture. And so these are kind of people off the beaten path that we would not normally talk about as well. The last one that I really want to deal with is called the Human Progress Centers of Progress. And this is a really neat way in which to really talk about how life has developed, whether it's in civics, whether it's in economics, world history, American history, all of those. There's some really neat areas here that you can focus on. So, for example, I brought out the Chichen Itza, and you actually, if you go down and scroll down, you can see there's some great activities. You can play the Mesoamerican ball game, and you can talk about how this works and why it was a part of their society and culture. and some really great resources with that. Another one that I wanted to show you was called Your Life in Numbers. And Your Life in Numbers is a really interesting one, because a lot of times we think about our students, especially, is life getting any better? And what does life getting better mean? And how do you measure that progress? So again, one of the things is looking at the data. And so there's some really neat data numbers. And so there's a website that they have. It's called Your Life in Numbers. It's by thehumanprogress.org. And you can actually select your birth year. And so I'm just going to do that real quick. And I was born in 1977, and then United States here. And you can kind of see this, where the income per person has changed, 97% improvement. And so then we can compare it, right? So let's just compare it to Bolivia. And so at this point, you can see some of the comparisons here. And wow, there's some democracy less in that. And you can kind of see some of the numbers and why democracy is so different, and how that works, and why that data is there. So this Human Progress is some really interesting website as well. That's kind of attached to the Sphere #ED. So you can really look at the data sets. And this is from 2020. I know that they've had a update here in the next few weeks, that they're going to be updating this data set as well. But anyway, I just wanted to share with you this really neat website, really neat resource that really focuses on civil discourse in the curriculum, and in the way in which your classes might work together, and maybe having some data to pull together, maybe having your students pull some data together. So check this resource out. Maybe tell us what you think. Tell us how you've perhaps used it in your classroom. So hopefully this has been a helpful resource for you.